My Hero Academia, MHA, is a popular anime series that presents a unique take on superheroes, combining traditional shonen action with deeper societal commentary. Let's dive into the world of MHA and explore some interesting, funny, and controversial angles, like we did with the previous cartoons. The hidden truths behind My Hero Academia. Why All Might wasn't actually that great. So let's talk about My Hero Academia and the so-called heroes who are meant to protect society. First things first, All Might, the symbol of peace, the greatest hero the world has ever known. Or is he? Reason number 1. All Might was a one-hit wonder. You see, All Might was a hero, but not for the reasons you think. Everyone's hyped up about how he's this unbeatable, all-powerful symbol of justice. But here's the cold, hard truth. He's basically the Michael Jordan of the hero world. He had one good run and then retired. He couldn't even stay relevant. After his one fight with All for One, the man turned into a shell of himself. The hero that everyone relied on to save them was suddenly weak.
Why?
Because in the real world, heroes don't just exist for 1 to 2 iconic moments. They have to evolve. All Might didn't. Reason number 2. Deku the underdog. Or just the guy who never stops crying. Let's talk about Izuku Midoriya, aka Deku. A kid born without a quirk, with dreams of becoming the greatest hero in a world where every other kid has powers. Inspirational, right? Nah, just painfully naive. Deku's like that kid who gets into the ring, gets knocked out in the first round, and still thinks he can be the next champion. His crybaby act is a full-time job. At some point, you start wondering, why hasn't Deku learned that his constant whining is his biggest enemy? It's not that he's not strong. It's that he hasn't figured out how to control his own head yet. But here's the kicker. Deku could have just worked on his confidence and his sense of self-worth. But no, instead, he's out there crying about his lack of a quirk while we have Bakugo, who, despite being an arrogant jerk, actually had the right mindset all along. Fire in his soul. Yeah, that's what gets you places, kid. Reason number 3. Bakugo and the power of unapologetic rudeness. Bakugo, angry, explosive, and way more competent than Deku. Don't come at me with that good guy attitude because Bakugo's the real deal. Yeah, he's got a temper. And yeah, he yells at everyone, especially Deku, but let's be honest. Bakugo gets things done. He knows who he is, he knows what he wants, and he gets it. Unlike Deku, who's still out there fighting to be relevant. Bakugo's using his anger to fuel his power. Maybe he's onto something. Maybe that inner fire does burn through adversity. And I'll tell you this, at least he's not sitting around crying about it. This guy's out there building the future, one explosion at a time. Reason number 4. The hero society is more corrupt than you think. Now let's take a step back. We all love the heroes and their quirks, but have you noticed how broken the hero society is? All Might was supposed to be the symbol of peace, but let's face it, what does the hero society really do? It controls the people, builds an economy around powers, and feeds off the public's dependency on heroes for survival. And then there's Endeavor, the so-called number 1 hero. This guy, a total disaster who let his ego and family issues spiral out of control. And yet, somehow, the society still calls him the best.
Why?
Because the system is built to glorify people based on status, not virtue. And let's be honest, the number of heroes who actually care about people is very, very small. Reason number 5. Why do we care about all these side characters? Okay, let's talk about the real fun of MHA. The side characters. You have your Uraraka, your Todoroki, your Ida, and the list goes on. Every single one of them has a quirk that's meant to make them unique. But let's face it, how many of these characters do you really care about? You didn't care about Ida until he went on his revenge trip after his brother got hurt. You didn't care about Todoroki until he had that big emotional breakdown about his family. Here's the thing. MHA introduces a ton of characters, but how many of them actually matter in the grand scheme? In a way, the show is just trying to distract you with characters while letting Deku and Bakugo do all the work. It's a clever trick, but it's starting to get old. Reason number 6. Shigaraki, the villain you never saw coming. And then there's Shigaraki. At first you're like, who is this kid? And then you realize he's the villain we needed, because without him, the story of My Hero Academia wouldn't even be close to interesting. Shigaraki represents the deep flaws in the society All Might built, And his rise to power is a brutal reminder that every hero system has cracks. While heroes are busy flexing their quirk muscles, Shigaraki's sitting there learning the game. Taking out heroes, breaking down everything they've built, and showing us just how fragile the piece really is. The hero society is like a tower of cards, and Shigaraki's the wind. The real lesson from My Hero Academia. So, what's the real takeaway here? My Hero Academia is fun, sure. But when you peel back the layers, it's clear. The world of heroes is more messed up than we like to admit. All Might's legacy isn't perfect. Deka needs to stop crying. Bakugo's anger is the real power. And the heroes? They're not the shiny golden figures they appear to be. My Hero Academia teaches us this. Don't wait for someone else to fix things, because sometimes the hero you've been waiting for is either too busy crying or too busy trying to get a quirk to actually care about you. Now, how many times did I say quirk in this post? Go back and count, but you can't. See how easily we get sucked into the world they want us to believe in. Don't fall for it. This takes a more cynical view of the world of My Hero Academia while maintaining the humor and charismatic tone of Andrew Tate's style, making fun of the characters and their flaws, while still presenting some thought-provoking commentary on society.